even after watching all of those highlights, Perk, I've watched them, like 10 times now, I get chills. Can you just contextualize what exactly did we witness from Team USA here?
I mean, we witnessed greatness. I mean, we watched the 39-year-old LeBron James commit and pour his heart and soul into Team USA in these Olympics. We watched Steph Curry the last 2 games have legendary moments. But you know who I watched? I watched the greatest Olympian of all time, Kevin Durant.
You know, when you look at the Olympics, I think there aren't a lot of moments where you absolutely 100% remember where you were when it happened. For me, in terms of Team USA, it's probably 1992 because that was, you know, I was 4 years out of college. These were iconic players. We had never done it before. I will never forget watching that first Olympics in Barcelona with professionals. I think since then, this is the one for me. I'm never going to forget where I was, not just for the Steph Curry closeout in the gold medal game, because we're all going to remember that forever. I think even the Serbia game, the comeback in the fourth quarter against Serbia, I'm never going to forget where I was watching that and who I was watching it with. To me, it's become that iconic. And I've always said, I don't think these guys, their legacies are defined by the Olympics. Right? We judge NBA players by championships, all-NBA MVPs, just the way it is. And eventually we'll get to their international play and gold medals somewhere in the conversation. I think the way it went down, giving us these moments that are memorable for all time, this now thrusts it into that conversation. When you talk about Curry when his career's over, when you talk about LeBron, you talk about KD. Now you put the Olympic talk up in there earlier in the conversation than you used to because it went down in such a memorable fashion. I'm glad it was the 3 guys, the elder statements, older players, the 3 iconic players of their generation that were the 3 guys that really got this done offensively when they had to have it.
I hear Perk going to that. What do you think of what we just heard from Tim?
No, it's real. And look, we all were rooting for Team USA, obviously supporting our guys while they go out there and put it on the line to represent our country. But again, it was just beautiful basketball, right? And just think about what a game is today, right? Think about how, you know, the Europeans are catching up. Think about our league today. And when you think about just the last, 5 MVPs, right? I mean, they all been, Europeans. And so when I think about what they've done, the commitment that those 3 OGs, Bron, Steph, and KD had to this team to go out there and compete, it was a beautiful thing to see. And shout out to Steve Kerr and his coaching staff, to sticking to their guns, doing it their way, keeping the rotations how they had it, and trusting in the old heads to take us home.
We've never seen a player score 60 points over 3 games in the Olympics until Steph Curry. We've never seen a player at age 39 do what LeBron James is doing. Kevin Durant now solidifies himself as the greatest men's Olympic basketball player ever of all time. And the fact that we got to see all 3 of those on the same stage doing what they were able to do is something, like you said, I'm not going to forget. It was so very special. And they faced some tough competition, right? Tougher than we've ever seen before. When you talk about the Dream Team, the Redeem Team, right? Look at this. There were 69 current or former NBA players on the rest of the Olympic rosters this year outside of the United States. That includes 3 from the 2023-24 first team, right, of All-NBA, Giannis, SGA, Jokic. That's who the Americans, of course, had to get through in the semis, right? That's their path to this gold. You could argue it's more difficult than the paths of teams in the past, because when you're talking about the Dream Team, the Redeem Team, and now LeBron says Avengers assembled, right, Perk? When you look at the totality of all the greatest teams ever assembled, where would you rank this United States team?
Well, I mean, they're definitely top 2, in my opinion. Now, we could have an argument a debate after the show if anybody disagree with me, but you could put them in that number 1 slot or the number 2 slot. Again, it's about the level of competition. It's about what a game is today, and it's a reason why Steph, Bron, and KD went and played, because they had to. Jason Tatum was getting DMPs. We're talking about a guy that's a first-team All-NBA for like the last, 3 seasons? We're talking about a guy that just won the NBA championship, and he was getting DMPs. That's how talented this roster was. When you throw Joel Embiid, when he finally arrived to the party, and the big game he had against Serbia, Joel Embiid, we know he led the league in scoring. This team was so talented. It's so talented. They got it done, and the competition level is just at another level than what it was back in the day.
Yeah, listen, this is a conversation when you start talking about comparing them to 1992 team, the original Dream Team. You're never going to solve it, right? You're never going to solve it. But so to me, what it really means is, are you worthy of being in the debate? And if you're worthy of being in that question and it's valid, then that's all you need to know. So for me, I think it'd be foolish to think that this team could not go toe-to-toe with the 92 Dream Team. Does that mean I would pick them in a 7-game series? No, but listen, some of this is, we talk about recency bias. Well, for me, it's experience bias. I played against some of those guys.
Yeah.
So I'm always going to be a little bit partial to that, and just the significance of what that meant and the dominance. I understand the competition level, and you said it's not arguably, much stiffer now what these guys face. But when you just look at the names on that original roster, I mean, to me, that's the greatest basketball team ever assembled. But this team is worthy of the debate to go toe-to-toe with them. You say best of 3, best of 5, best of 7. They absolutely, you can make a valid argument that they could win that series. I think that that's where this team ranks because of who is mainly at the top of this roster. And I'm grateful for Serbia and France, by the way, because they forced greatness when greatness was required. Otherwise, we don't get those iconic moments that we got at the end of those 2 games.
Right.
But we did, and it's because of Serbia and France pushing them to the limit.
What's that saying? Some people are born great, some people have greatness thrust upon them, and this was a meeting of both of those minds. You said that you're not quite taking this team over 1992. Perk, you have some experience playing with and against LeBron James. Which team would you take in a 7-game series, real quick?
I'm going to go with the guys that I actually played with. I'm going to ride with Braun and KD. I know one thing about KD. I don't know from that 92 team who's going to be checking him.
Richard Jefferson, he had to teach me and Zach Lowe how to pop the champagne a la LeBron James and Anthony Edwards. So I feel you there, Ant. But there are so many great storylines that we need to get into in the actual basketball, including Kevin Durant solidifying his claim as the greatest men's Olympic basketball player of all time, winning his 4th Olympic gold medal. That is more than anyone in men's basketball ever. We're talking all time. And speaking of all-time greats, the accolades, they just keep coming for 39-year-old LeBron James. He became the 3rd ever men's Olympic MVP, giving him 4 NBA MVPs, 4 Finals MVPs, 3 All-Star MVPs, and an in-season tournament MVP, and then adding to an already incredible resume, right, for just a kid from Akron, as he says. But the one thing LeBron always wanted to do was team up with his longtime rival, Wardell Stephen Curry. So after winning the 2022 NBA Finals, Steph, he had this to say about what was left on his basketball resume.
I still got something to do. I gotta go play for Coach Curry in 24.
Yes.
I gotta get something y'all got.
Yes. That's going to be great.
I ain't good yet. I gotta get an Olympic medal.
G Hill, Steph just committed to the Olympics in 24. You heard it here first, G Hill.
Curry continues to rack up the career achievements, right? They now have combined for 10 NBA titles, 8 Olympic golds, 7 NBA MVP awards, which is just ridiculous. We need to appreciate this greatness while it is playing in front of our very eyes. And there's no question, LeBron, KD, Steph, all 3 of them, all-time greats, all 3 of them. First ballot Hall of Famers. But let's just talk legacies here because this is TV. It's what we do. The 3 of them, they won't be playing forever. So between them, who do you think, Perk, whose legacy was impacted the most with that gold medal?
I have to go with LeBron. Anytime he could get one up on MJ, Jordan, then I have to ride with it. Because he now has 3, Jordan has 2. And look, this is going to be a GOAT debate for the rest of our lives and even after that, right? But when it comes down to LeBron, we know that we're not going to see him in 2028. So for him to commit, go out there and compete the way that he did, along with capturing the MVP, I think that just adds more to his resume, adds more to him for us being the GOAT. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think all 3 guys, but if I give my personal opinion, it's going to be Steph Curry for this reason. I just think the debate between MJ and LeBron, you fall on one side of the fence in that debate, and it's immovable. Right? It just is. Unless LeBron somehow is able to win more titles into his 40s, right? If he were able to do that, maybe some of those people might jump the fence, but for the most part, you are divided and polarized on that argument. For Curry, I think obviously he has crept up to a lot of people now. He's in their top 10 list going into this. But I think now it's absolutely cemented on everybody's list because of what he was able to do in a high-pressure, packed moment to deliver something like that you will never forget. I think now that eliminates all the debate when you start getting into spots like 8 through 15, where like Curry is in a lot of those lists you come up with. I think now most people are going to go ahead and that debate's over. You're going to push him into the top 10. You're going to figure out who you would slide down and let him leapfrog. I think he helped himself the most now because I think it's over. It's done. Steph Curry definitely top 10, and who knows, in some people's lists, maybe even getting closer to that top 7, 6, 5 category, but top 10 for sure. I think that's what he was able to do.
Oh, I got him in my top 5 legs when it comes to Steph Curry. I mean, when you think about what he's done for the game of basketball, right, when you think about being one of the most skilled players to ever touch the basketball, I think we get amazed, and rightfully so, what Kyrie is able to do for us being a magician with the basketball. But Steph Curry is right there following him. And his ability, the way that he changed the game, and the way that he changed the point guard position. I was actually having a debate with some of my good friends on Saturday behind whether or not Steph Curry is going to go down as a point guard or a shooting guard. And to be honest with you, he's a point guard. He just happened to change what that position does. And that's just greatness. That's just Steph at his finest. Legendary moment for him the past 2 games in the Olympics, because he struggled up into that game against Serbia.
Agreed, Perk. I think Steph Curry represents the greatest combination skill package in one body: dribble, pass, shoot. The 3 major skill components of the game. That's the highest combination of those 3 skills in one body. Steph Curry possesses that, and he's obviously won at the highest level. And now what he's done in the Olympics as well. I just want to give one last shout-out, though, because we didn't mention Durant in this segment. He was part of the original question. Kevin Durant also. I think he absolutely gets a lot of love for this because, Kevin Durant's taken a lot of hits, right? A lot of hits. Starting from the time he went to Golden State, people went at him for that decision, and he wins a couple of titles. Some of the decisions he's made since to leave Golden State, everything that happened in Brooklyn, what's happened in Phoenix, and a team that really has underachieved. So Kevin Durant's taken some hits. A lot of it, to me, has been undeserved. But I think the way he carried himself in this, and by the way, let's not forget, when you got into that most important possession in the Serbia game, up 2, inside of a minute, they come up the floor. There was no doubt in my mind where that basketball was going to go. It was going to go to the greatest shot creator maker of his generation in Kevin Durant. And that's exactly what they did. LeBron gave him the ball in that moment. He cleared out Joel Embiid, said, I don't want a ball screen. Everybody watch me. He goes to a crossover mid-range pull-up, right? His signature shot to put them up 4 and basically ice the game. So even in that moment with LeBron on the floor, Curry on the floor, who did they go to when they had to survive that moment against Serbia? It was Kevin Durant. So I think he reminded people throughout this of his greatness and ability to be efficient, even on less shots, less minutes that all these guys get. He was still sensational as a scorer when he had to be.
Well, and now we got to see, the answer could be, and I hate when we say this, but everybody, because you have Kevin Durant standing alone in his gold medal count. You have Steph Curry adding the one thing that was missing from his already first ballot Hall of Fame resume. And then you have LeBron James, as I said earlier, doing things that we literally have never seen and will probably never see again. He's 39 years old, though. KD, Steph, you're looking at 2028. I don't know that we're going to see this again. So, Perk, when it's all said and done, do you think this was the last championship of any kind that we're going to see the 3 of them win?
No, I don't. I actually got my eyes on Kevin Durant, and this season is going to be very interesting, to be honest with y'all.
Yep.
And y'all know this, right? Going overseas, those guys did what? They got relationships now with those other players. We see Anthony Edwards and KD. They got a signature handshake, big brother, little brother type role. Like, if things don't turn out the way that we expect them to in Phoenix this year, could Kevin Durant want to get to Minnesota and play alongside Anthony Edwards? Kevin Durant is Anthony Edwards' favorite player. Anthony Edwards is Kevin Durant's favorite player. I still think Kevin Durant has one more title in him.
We'll see.